to give us some reflections, please, Minister, on this area of the digital transformation. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's a great honor for me participating to this panel and to this event. I was just exiting from another discussion with our committee of the doctors to see how we will be able to open our market during the holidays and these next weeks and find a way to start commerce again in Greece, even under lockdown measures and under the pandemic second wave. And the discussion I had for more than 20 minutes was how we could help businesses to work through the click-away system. I mean, buying things through internet and collecting them from the store, outside from the store, just because all the system of the couriers in the country is totally stopped because of the lockdown measures and all the day-by-day things they have to carry. So the question was, how many businesses are ready to have e-shops that they would work okay, and how these digital transformations of our economy has already been more mature. So it's as if I continue the same discussion from another side, and I can answer to you that I'm totally confident now that after the pandemic will go, after the vaccination and after some first 5-6 months of 2021, many people will continue to buy everything through internet and through digital ways. Because now, people that didn't do it before, they learned to do it, and businesses that they didn't have invested a lot of money in this sector in the past, they have already invested now a lot of money, time and effort to fix and establish good e-shops and a chain of supply that would work through this way. So I'm very, very confident that the pandemic wave will affect commerce and business many years after the pandemic will gone. And I can tell you that, for example, in my ministry, we are designing a program of giving a lot of money to medium and small businesses to establish e-shops and to accelerate their digital transformation, because we are confident that this is something that they will need for all the years that are going to come. So commerce will be, it is and will be affected by COVID through a much more digital way of working. In Greece, on top of that, and I'm sure Mr. Kerakakis will explain it much better, we have digitalized all the public services in a very fast way. So we are giving to our civilians the access to almost everywhere through their phone or through their internet, and we make them change their habit of going to public services and working distance through internet. So this is one more thing that makes me very sure that when you learn to someone to make his day-by-day work through distance way and digital ways, this will affect his behavior as a client of a shop and as a client of a business. So services will be always affected very, very strongly through a more digital way because of the pandemic in the future. I could say that for my country and how I can see things now, the pandemic was the catalyst that forced our society to organize in a much more digital way and forced the consumers to behave in a much more digital way. And this is something that since it came, it will stay. I'm not saying that this will destroy real commerce. Of course, the habit of going to a store will continue, and the experience is totally different buying things through the internet or by a real visit to a store. What I'm saying is that a lot of the consumers will consume much more through digital e-shops, and this will influence the market, I think, in a much more big scale than any one of us could predict before the pandemic. Greece was a much more immature digital market before, and after it will be a real good organized digital e-commerce market like other Western countries that they were much more in front in this kind of behavior of the consumers before the pandemic. So the digital transformation that the pandemic made us to do is here to stay. And we, as a government, we will do whatever it takes to help our businesses, not only the big ones. The big ones are much more well organized and they have already taken to account this new world and they were much more ready to behave like that. But the small and medium businesses of Greece, the SMEs, were not so much prepared, and we will try our best to help them to be prepared in the future because we understand that all these things is a reality and has already started to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Before we move on, I have a quick question for you. I think you sort of hinted at this in your opening words, but I'm very interested to know, in the case of Greece, clearly all over the world, the pandemic has forced people to move closer towards the digital world, to speed up that transformation, if you like. I'm interested to know how much of what's changed because of the pandemic is going to stay changed. So what is the probability of a snap back, if you like? So people will drop those habits that they picked up during the pandemic and we'll go back to business as usual. You mentioned in your words that you thought that that was unlikely to happen, that the change that had occurred was going to stick. But for example, with people working from home, say in Greece, how long is that likely to continue? Are people just going to go back to their offices and resume their old work habits, do you think?
For the work habits, it's more complex. For sure, the working through distance through internet will be more, but I think our businesses are not ready to continue this kind of working after the pandemic measures. I think it will be much lower than the consumer's behavior that is here to stay. I'm now totally confident that when the pandemic will go, much more share of day by day consumed will be through internet in Greece than it was before. I mean, significant more. Because now everybody understood how easy it is to do it, and they learned to do it. Without the pandemic measures, this would take years to happen. This now has been made in weeks. So for the consumer thing, I think it will stay. For the working, I'm not so confident that it will be so big. We as a country, we encourage the working through internet and distance, and we think, I have to be very honest, but as a country, we could invest in a way of saying to people, come and stay in Greece and work through distance, through internet from Greece. And for these reasons, we have many legislations that give motives for that, because we think that we could attract people that they would decide if they could make their work from a long distance to pick to stay to a sunny and with good weather and good well-being country as Greece than staying in places that are not so easy to have a day-by-day life. But this is in theory. This is not something that we can really say that it will happen in a big scale. But for the consumers, we're totally sure, and this is the reason we're going to spend a lot of money to help our small and medium businesses to accelerate their digital services.